Voices in the Leave campaign, former Mayor of London. He says less than 3 days until your chance to vote Leave and take control of your country's destiny. And Boris Johnson's successor as Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has a slightly different message. He says, let's make the right choice for a stronger, safer Britain that gives more opportunities to young people. Well, speaking of young people, 5 are joining us here on the Royal Mile. Good to see all of you. Thank you very much for coming out. So Sadiq Khan's offering you some advice. Are you ready to listen to it?
No, I'm not. I personally believe that with European students, European students do not have to pay tuition, and in Scotland, Scottish students don't have to pay either. And that is obviously creating and increasing or decreasing the amount of places there are in the universities. And I think that Scottish students should come first, and I think the majority of the Scottish people believe that.
Well, as a European student, I definitely disagree with that statement. First of all, I do pay tuition. I pay a lot of tuition, just like any other Scottish student would, or any student doing a postgrad degree here. And just like all of you, we had to work really hard to get into uni, so did I. And I've earned my place into a British university just as much as you could have earned your place into any other European university.
Sadiq Khan's talking about opportunity, but of course it goes beyond students. I mean, David Cameron was on Question Time the other night there, and he said that we trade more in services with Luxembourg than we do as India as a whole, and that's because we've not got a trade deal. And fundamentally, the only way we can have a trade deal with a country like India is to leave the European Union and take advantage of our comparative advantage, which lies in services.
I think it's clear that there are so many opportunities the European Union brings for young people. I mean, we've touched on universities this evening, that young people here in Edinburgh and across Scotland get the opportunity to study abroad, and that's fully funded thanks to the Erasmus programme. And I think that by taking those opportunities away from young people, they would do themselves a real disadvantage in the future.
Just to touch back on your point about universities, universities have quotas, so I never see it as EU students are taking my places or whatever, anything. It's not like that. It's they have to say, we need so many English students, we need so many international students, we need this, we need that. It's not about EU students coming here and taking the places of Scottish students.
I think it's also important to note that Scottish universities and universities across the UK, they can set their own funding and structure policy. That's also one of the misses being perpetuated by the Leave side around the common fisheries policy. Yes, there's EU quotas in place, but national governments have a massive clout and say in terms of determining how that policy will actually be enacted on the ground.
Well, I think you should speak to the hundreds of thousands of fishermen, those that are left in this country, and you speak to them and 90% of them support Leave. That isn't a coincidence. That's because their industry has been completely destroyed. Michael Gove's father's business, for goodness sake, has been destroyed as a result of the common fisheries policy. So to back that up as some European success, when even the stronger inside have actually almost conceded that the European fisheries policy is a failure.
But after all, it's the British government that sets the quotas for every fisher in every region. So you can't blame the EU for how the British national government divides the quotas per region in the kingdom, because that's just false. You can't blame the EU for something that the national government, that all of you have chosen.
The fishing quotas are enforced by the EU. I understand that we've got to protect our fish stocks. I understand that there's an environmental concern there. But the fact of the matter is quotas should be set by national elected representatives, not by unelected representatives in the far distant capital of Brussels.
That's quite clear. I could probably leave you 5 chatting until this time tomorrow and I wouldn't have to say a word. I've got 2 quick questions for all of you though. First of all, if you picked out one issue which would decide how you vote, and I'm going to leave you out, Ben, because I know you're Dutch and you can't vote, but the 4 of you, what's the one driver beyond all other issues that will decide how you vote?
I think for me, certainly, it's about sovereignty. It's about, is our parliament sovereign? Right. Do we make our own laws? And in my opinion, and in our campaign's opinion, we simply don't.
Liam?
For me, it's about where I see not only Scotland but the rest of the UK and the world. I think what will happen on Thursday, I think it'll be a clear message to the rest of the world, and I hope that message is one that we're an open and tolerant and liberal society.
I would completely agree with Liam there. I think I'm a history student, and to me it's about symbolism. It's about Britain being part of the EU and saying, we are in unison with you, we want to work together to make this world better.
Nowhere else in the world the countries apologise for wanting to live under their own laws. There is nothing wrong with that. It's a perfectly natural thing. And that is why I'll be voting to Leave on June 23rd.
So that was my first question. The second is about identity. Of course, people can have many different identities, but I wonder if you all feel European, if that's an important part of how you view yourself.
I don't view myself as European. I would say I'm Scottish. I'm also Nigerian. My parents are Nigerian. So to me, I'm Scottish and Nigerian. I would never say that I'm European. But that doesn't mean that I don't feel part of Europe, and I don't think it's important to stay in Europe.
Well, I'm definitely on the other side on this one. I do feel European. I'm not sure what's been the reason for me to feel European, but I do feel European, and just like any Eastern European, just like any British person, I think we're all just European, and I think we should move on from national borders.
I should say before we hear from the rest of you, it's a bit like London buses. You wait for ages for a young voter to come along, and then 100 walk by. Just quickly, the other three of you, what's your identity? Is being European part of it?
It's certainly not. I think when I look at the European flag and hear the European anthem, I don't immediately hold my heart and think that...
Liam?
For me, I feel like a global citizen. I was on Twitter earlier on saying that I was going to be on the BBC World News Channel. I had people all across the world saying, oh, fantastic, we'll tune in. So I feel part of a real, true global network.
Thank you very much.
Europe's a fantastic place, fantastic content. I love it. I've been there holidays many times, but I'm British. I'm proud to be British, and I'll be voting to leave on June 23rd.
All five of you, it's been a pleasure to talk. Thank you very much indeed.